Hello everyone! A while ago I made a short video making bracelets and I thought I'd make a separate one explaining how and specifically how to use crimp beads and how to use a bead spinner. So let's begin. So of course what we're going to need are crimp beads, a jump ring, a lobster clasp and flat nose pliers. For my bracelet I used around 60 cm of nylon cord. It's easy to calculate your perfect length. Just measure your wrist and then multiply it by the amount of times you want to be able to wrap it around, plus extra 8 to 10 cm because we need to leave a tail at the end. And I used the same formula to make necklaces. Now let's continue by grabbing all the beads we want to use for our bracelet. I love to mix different sizes, but of course that's up to you. Now let's get our bead spinner ready. Just fill in all the beads you want to use. One thing I noticed for myself is that I tend to use too many beads and I end up having a lot of my mix left. So my tip for you is to start off with a small amount of beads of each color. You can still add more later. Let's add the first crimp bead onto our thread. And after that, the lobster clasp. Now we have to go back through the crimp bead like this. Just leave a little tail and pull it tight. Now we take our flat nose pliers and squeeze the crimp bead until it's flat. Now you can pull on the rest of the thread, and as you can see, it shouldn't be able to move anymore. On the other end of the thread, I secure my needle and bend one side a little bit to create a hook. The way I do it is I spin the beads to the left and hold the needle in the opposite direction. That means that the beads move towards the hook. Your needle should be positioned more on the surface of the beads than very deep in the spinner. It can take some time to get it right. I needed to practice it too. Here I take the tail we left in the beginning and pass it through the beads. The glass cubes I like to add individually. Simply repeat until you have enough beads on your thread. Then you can remove the needle, add your crimp bead, and your jump ring. Make sure the jump ring stays at its place and doesn't slide down the whole bracelet. Now we pass the end of the thread through the crimp bead and pull it tight. Make sure you're very close to the beads and no thread is showing through. When you place your flat nose pliers on the crimp bead, make sure you don't squeeze any of the beads as well. They will break and yeah. Pull the end of the thread to check if everything's secure. That means it shouldn't be able to move. Now pass the tail through a few beads. And you can trim off the end. And you're done. See you next time.